Across the vast and dynamic continent of Africa, a new conversation about leadership is taking shape. It's a conversation driven by a generation that is tired of the old ways, a generation demanding change, accountability, and a future they can truly own. At the heart of this continental dialogue are two figures who, despite their vastly different approaches, have become powerful symbols of this new era. In one corner, you have Ibrahim Traoré of Burkina Faso, a young army captain who took power in a military coup, promising to reclaim his nation's sovereignty from both internal and external threats. He's the guy who showed up in fatigues and said, "The old way isn't working, so we're trying a new one, right now." On the other side of this spectrum stands Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu, better known as Bobi Wine, a pop star from the ghettos of Kampala, Uganda, who traded his microphone for a megaphone. He didn't pick up a gun, he picked up a political party. His revolution is one of ballots, not bullets, challenging a long-reigning president through the very democratic processes the incumbent claims to uphold. He represents the fight for change from within the system, believing that the power of the people, when mobilized, can overcome even the most entrenched regimes. These two men, Traoré and Bobi Wine, represent a fundamental question facing many African nations today. Does true change come from tearing down the old structures, or from reforming them from the inside? Their stories are not just about Burkina Faso and Uganda. They resonate with young people from Cape Town to Cairo. They tap into a deep-seated frustration with post-colonial dependencies, corruption, and leaders who have long overstayed their welcome. Traoré's anti-French, pan-Africanist rhetoric excites those who feel their countries are still economically and militarily tethered to their former colonial rulers. Meanwhile, Bobi Wine's journey inspires millions who believe in the power of grassroots democracy, even when the odds are stacked against them. They are the faces of a continent in flux, each offering a distinct and compelling vision for the future. The divergence in their methods could not be more stark, yet their goals share a common thread: empowerment. Traoré argues that you cannot hold fair elections while your house is on fire, prioritizing national security and economic independence above all else. He believes you must first secure the nation before you can build a new political foundation. Bobi Wine counters that security and prosperity are meaningless without freedom and human rights. He insists that the people must be the ones to choose their leaders, that a government's legitimacy can only come from the consent of the governed. Their parallel journeys force a necessary and sometimes uncomfortable debate about what liberation truly means in the 21st century. Born in 1988 in Burkina Faso, Ibrahim Traoré grew up in a country plagued by instability and foreign interference. He joined the army in his early 20s, trained as an officer, and climbed through the military ranks. As the nation struggled to contain a deadly jihadist insurgency, and many citizens felt betrayed by a government seen as dependent on France, frustration grew in the ranks of both civilians and soldiers. In October 2022, at just 34 years old, Traoré led a military coup that ousted the transitional president, Paul-Henri Damiba. The justification was clear: the government had failed to protect its people. The population, weary of terror attacks and a failing state, welcomed the young captain as a liberator. Crowds filled the streets, waving flags and chanting his name. Traoré didn't just seize power, he redefined the country's direction. He expelled French troops, ended military cooperation with France, and aligned Burkina Faso with other Sahelian countries pursuing an anti-Western pan-Africanist agenda. His government began engaging with nations like Mali and Russia, seeking new allies who would respect African sovereignty. He portrayed himself as a patriot, unafraid to stand against neo-colonial influence. Under his leadership, national pride surged, especially among the youth. But with that pride came scrutiny. Press freedom was curtailed. Civil society felt pressure, and questions arose about the absence of a clear democratic timeline. Still, to many Burkinabés, Traoré became a symbol of defiance and strength, a leader who took charge when no one else dared. In Uganda, another revolution was taking shape, born not in barracks but on stages. Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu, better known as Bobi Wine, was born in 1982 and raised in the ghettos of Kampala. His music career exploded in the 2000s with songs that spoke boldly about poverty, injustice, and youth frustration. But Bobi Wine was not content with entertainment alone. In 2017, he entered politics, winning a parliamentary seat in a by-election. His transition from pop icon to politician electrified Uganda. He spoke the language of the people. His message was simple: freedom, fairness, and a Uganda for all. As a presidential challenger in the 2021 elections, Bobi Wine took on Yoweri Museveni, the longtime ruler in power since 1986. The campaign was brutal. Wine and his supporters were routinely arrested. Despite the repression, Bobi Wine's campaign sparked a political awakening. His red beret became a national symbol of resistance. His party, the National Unity Platform, offered an alternative to the deeply entrenched regime. Although the official results declared Museveni the winner, many believed the election had been rigged. Bobi Wine's influence extended beyond ballots. He reshaped Uganda's political discourse. He mobilized the youth, challenged authoritarian norms, and drew international attention to the struggle for democracy in Africa. Even after the election, Bobi Wine has remained the face of the opposition, a persistent thorn in the side of the establishment. His activism continues to carry significant personal risk. Ibrahim Traoré and Bobi Wine are products of different systems. Traoré was forged in the military, disciplined, strategic, and trained in command. Bobi Wine rose from the grassroots, charismatic, rebellious, and rooted in the everyday struggles of the common people. Traoré took power through a military coup. Bobi Wine tried to win it through elections. Bobi Wine dresses in civilian clothes and speaks of democracy, rule of law, and people's power. In Burkina Faso, Traoré's leadership brought a dramatic shift in foreign policy. France, the former colonial power, lost its influence. The country's military tightened control, and citizens felt a renewed sense of purpose. Yet the insurgency remains, and political uncertainty persists. In Uganda, Bobi Wine did not take power, but he changed the game. He challenged a regime many believed to be untouchable. He forced global attention on Uganda's political environment. And most importantly, he gave millions of Ugandan youth a voice. Both Traoré and Bobi Wine represent a new generation of African leadership, young, bold, and unwilling to accept the status quo. Their methods differ, their ideologies diverge, and their countries face unique challenges. But their stories echo the same truth. Africa's youth are not waiting for permission to lead. They are rising. And through revolution or reform, they are shaping the future of the continent.